The jokes were light, but the comparisons were heavy with meaning. It was time to accept what was unspoken and walk away.
It all began with a text message. It was phrased like a joke, but the words had a sharp edge. She wrote that if she had to choose between me and her coworker, he would win, hands down. I just stared at my phone, reading that sentence over and over until the humor completely evaporated. I finally typed back, "Are you serious, or is this some kind of test?" She replied with a laughing emoji, saying honesty was more important than making me feel comfortable. At that moment, I felt something inside me just crack. I told her that words like that don't just disappear with a laugh. She dismissed it, saying I was being too sensitive and that stress from work made her blunt. I decided to drop it, but my mind wouldn't stop racing. Later that night, another message popped up. Her tone was still casual, almost confident. She started talking about how her coworker just got her ambition in a way I apparently did, and I had to ask, when did admiring him turn into comparing him to me? She shot back that comparisons were a natural part of adult relationships. I replied that respect should be just as natural. She brushed it off again, telling me I was overreacting. The whole conversation felt lopsided, like I was trying to keep my balance on a steep hill. I realized arguing was pointless. It was time to stop talking and start listening, really listening to what wasn't being said. A heavy silence stretched between us, filled with unspoken meaning. The next day, she sent pictures from a work event. She was smiling, surrounded by familiar faces, but in every single photo, he was standing just a little too close. My patience ran out. I asked her directly, "Is there something I should know?" Her response was defensive. I should trust her instead of interrogating her. I told her that trust is built on reassurance, not on dodging questions. She immediately changed the subject, asking about our plans for the weekend. I agreed, my voice polite, but I made a mental note of the swift deflection. That evening, I started taking screenshots of our conversations. I didn't say anything to her. It felt like I was preparing for a storm that I desperately hoped would just pass by. In the days that followed, the chat grew colder, more transactional. Then she dropped the classic line. She needed space to think clearly. I asked her, "Does that space mean distance from me, or does it mean being honest with yourself?" She said she felt freer when I wasn't questioning her every move. My response was simple. Freedom without responsibility just leads to broken things. She accused me of trying to control her choices. I calmly explained that setting boundaries isn't building a cage. The argument just went in circles until we were both too exhausted to feel angry anymore. For the first time, we went a full day without a single message. The silence was louder than any words she could have said. It answered all the questions she'd been avoiding. When she finally texted, her tone was different. It was firm, rehearsed. She admitted she had feelings for her coworker and wasn't going to deny them anymore. I took a deep breath and simply thanked her for finally being honest. My calm response seemed to surprise her. I asked if she remembered that joke she made at the very beginning. She said it was just talk, that she never meant to hurt me. I replied that the truth often has a way of slipping out in jokes. She went quiet, and in that quiet I felt strangely steady, not broken. I told her I was going to compete for a place that should have been mine all along. She accused me of giving up too easily. I told her that choosing my own dignity isn't the same as quitting. Then she asked what I was going to do next. My plan was simple. I was going to step back and let the consequences of her actions speak for themselves. She warned me I'd regret losing her. I'll never forget what I said next. I would regret losing myself more. The chat just hung there, paused, as if waiting for a dramatic explosion that I refused to provide. About a week later, she messaged me again. The pride in her tone was gone, replaced by uncertainty. She said things at work were complicated now. I listened, but I didn't offer any advice or solutions. She then asked if we could just press reset, forget all the harsh words. I told her that forgetting requires mutual respect, not selective memory. She apologized, a real apology this time, without asking for anything in return. I accepted it, but I didn't reopen any doors. The tone had shifted again, this time into something final. We started discussing the practicalities of separating, our words calm and measured. There were no more accusations to throw, no more anger to fuel. All that was left were the cold, hard facts. On the last day we ever chatted, she asked me a question. Do you hate me? I told her that hatred takes up energy I no longer wanted to spend on her. She said she hoped I would understand her someday. I replied that understanding doesn't always lead to agreement. She wished me happiness in a short, final message. I wished her clarity in return. And just like that, it was over. No fireworks, no dramatic exit, no final fight. I archived the chat instead of deleting it. It wasn't about holding on. It was about acknowledging the end. The closure was quiet, but it was absolute. And in that quiet, I found my peace. Thanks for listening. If this story resonated with you, consider subscribing for more.